Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau. Get ready. It's time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavlich. Away in the grove, the bearded wonder, the one and only Jesse Martineau, and our special guest today, everybody. Guess who? Back. We rarely take people back, but we had to take him back because he's one of our favorite guests from the NFL, everybody. Erik Harris, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, Mark. Hey, I thought when you started talking about beards, I thought you were talking about me.
I know. I said the other wonderful beard over there.
Right. No, yours is way better.
Yeah. See, Jesse, it's a basic, foregone conclusion. When I say the bearded guy, they usually figure it's you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of been my MO for a while. Well, Erik, thanks so much for joining us once again. Crazy season in the NFL. Did you watch the Super Bowl? Or did you skip that one?
Oh, no, I watch it. Yeah.
What'd you think of that call at the end?
Terrible call. At that point of the game, it's a bad call.
Especially when they hadn't called anything up to that point.
And they're in field goal range. So, I mean, let's have some excitement. Let's not watch them kneeling to the last second so they can kick a game-winning field goal. You know, let them kick a field goal, go up by 3, give Philly the ball back. I mean, every DB, if you go watch one-on-ones, every DB covers that route the same exact way.
How do they teach you that? I don't mean that. I mean, how do they, when the league says, hey, here's what a call is now, what do they tell you?
I mean, it's really up to the refs to make the right call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it holding? I mean, yes, technically, but it's within 5 yards as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
So typically when you get that type of route, right, as a defensive player, you're thinking that you have to get behind him because he's going to run to the other side of the field. And what usually happens is they have guys that aren't picking you, right? Quotations.
Right. Yeah.
But they're trying to pick you. So you're trying to get right behind your man so you can't get picked off. Well, what typically happens with a lot of DBs, you have bad eyes. So you look at the quarterback. And when you look at the quarterback, the guy breaks back out. So that's when you put your arm out. You're like, oh, he's going back out. So you put your hand out. Every DB puts their hand out. Every DB kind of grabs for a second. I just think it was a bad call.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys can do to talk to the league? Because I mean, honestly, and Mark and I have talked about this and countless others till we're blue in the face, but the lack of consistency seems like mind-blowingly obvious now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just bad. You get fined if you talk about it, right? Yeah. So that's hard. We get either cut or we get fined for bad plays or bad performance.
Right.
I just don't know what the consequence for those guys are. You don't ref in a playoff game or a Super Bowl. Okay, what's the big? You know what I mean?
Yep.
You still have a job. We're losing our job. We're losing money.
How does that happen when Tom Brady comes out and says, "Oh, roughing the passer is ridiculous"? He says that because he's going out now. He's leaving. He's exiting stage left. So he can say that now, but he didn't say it when he was really in the thick of things. But the roughing the passer has to be even worse than the pass interference now in the NFL. It is literally to the point where the quarterback has to wear a flag. You know what I mean? Like, because it's crazy when you see guys just kind of like grabbing the quarterback and kind of hugging him to not put him down. Like, that's bananas. Like, to see that in the NFL.
It really is. I mean, you can't land on top of a guy when you tackle him. Like, what is that?
It's crazy.
Like, they don't realize how fast we're moving and how much everything happens in a split second. Right? We say it's a game of inches all the time. So if I'm slowing down to protect him for not hitting him so hard or trying to land on him, well, he might escape and get the ball off. And that's the difference in a game sometimes. So it's just one of those rules where you just say, we're just going to go out and play. If it happens, it happens. You don't really put too much thought into it.
How do the coaches respond, though?
Exactly.
What'd you say?
How do the coaches respond, though? Like, because
I
mean, are they just mad at the ref?
Move forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get mad at it. I mean, we were in that situation, was it week 2, early in the season, when we got the whole questionable call with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody's hurt in the locker room. Everybody's upset and mad. But it's one of those things. It's like, all right, let's just move on. You can't say too much.
Yeah. And again, I mean, at the end of the day, that is part of it. You got to play next week. So, what are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
So, lots going on. What's going on with you now? How can we see on the field this year?
I hope so. It's not always up to me. I'm NFL old, they say, but I got miles left on these tires. I still have a lot to offer to a team, so I'm hoping to play again this season. So that's always up to God and whatever He has planned for me. So I'm being patient, like I always try to be. But I'm home, being a full-time dad.
Yeah.
Much harder than playing football.
So do you see yourself in Atlanta, or do you see yourself somewhere else?
I would love to go back to Atlanta, but who knows? I mean, I have great relationships there. Still keep in contact with coaches and stuff like that, just from a personal relationship that I have with them. But you just never know what this business will lead you, what they value or what they see in other guys. So, you're not always competing against the free agents. You're competing against the young guys that are at the combine and so forth. So, they got to build a roster, and they finally got some money this year to do that. So I'm just excited just to see where my journey ends and what they end up doing, because that coaching staff, they've done a great job of building a culture team around there with great leaders, and they deserve this all season coming up.
Now, not to talk about your end of your career, but I see you as a Christian singer when this is all over. And you might think it's crazy. You might think it's super crazy, but I've seen you hit a few notes now where I think Simon Cowell himself would say, "Okay, Erik, hold on a second. That was good." You know what I'm saying?
Or he'll ask me if I have another song to sing.
Either or. Now, E, do you see yourself ever doing that? Like, because you do, you seem to feel super comfortable doing that.
I mean, not to have an album or a record or anything like that, but maybe sing in the church or something like that.
Correct.
Who knows? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I definitely love praise and worship. It's one of the things where I just feel like the most connected with God in a sense. So whether it's in the car or my family's dancing around in the kitchen, in the living room and stuff like that, it's a great feeling. It's a full feeling of really surrendering and just letting your spirit be. And sometimes you're just singing, all of a sudden you just get emotional. You're like, why am I emotional? Right. And it's just the full surrendering of it. It's beautiful.
Is that why you look so comfortable singing it, though? You do. You look very, very comfortable doing it.
Yeah, it's almost like you're having a conversation. Like sometimes, maybe new believers or people in general, they're going through a hard time and they don't know what to pray. They don't know how to pray. And to me, I mean, songs you're talking to God. And if your heart is connected through the song to Him, I think you are having a conversation with God sometimes through prayer, right? Or not prayer, praise. So, I mean, these people write amazing songs. And if you really, really listen to the lyrics, it's like, wow, that's really deep. And that's exactly what I'm going through. So why not sing it? Why not put your heart into it and connect that way?
What about before the game? Is that what you're listening to, or you're listening to something else?
All right. So morning time, I got to start out with Christian music. Okay. I got to start out with my Christian music. I listen to a little bit of slow jams. Yeah. But then when I go in the field to do my routine, a little more J. Cole, a little more rap and stuff like that. But then as soon as I come off the field for my pregame warm up, I mellow it back down just to be in the right state of mind. Just, I mean, there's a lot of, I've been that guy, that rah guy in college, and you're like, you make a play, and you're snapping, you're celebrating, and you're like, oh, I'm tired. For like 2 series, you're tired. You know what I mean? So I just learned to just kind of be the same mellow person throughout. Sometimes when you make a big play, you celebrate, but you just kind of move on.
Like the big hit that it wasn't too long after you were on the first time that you laid out Robbie Anderson.
Chosen Anderson now. He's changed his name twice since I think.
Twice.
You hit him so hard he changed his name twice.
Yeah. It's kind of like the
There's a joke there. There's a joke.
That was a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a joke there, right?
Dude, you jacked him up and totally clean. Probably the last great clean hit that didn't get called.
It was funny because Coach Smith, we get into meetings and stuff, and he's all about character and stuff like that. And if you watch the clip, I hit him, I got up, kind of taunted their sideline a little bit, and he's like, "Look, one of the best hits I've seen in a very long time is clean, is best clinic tape, but you can't do this. Like, we're lucky he didn't get a taunting call, this and that." So he kind of let me know in front of the team that, hey, we can't be foolish. We can't have self-inflicted wounds as far as penalties and stuff like that. I'm like, gotcha. But the next 2 weeks, to set the tone, he would show that in the team meetings, that highlight. But the crazy thing is, this dude came back in the game. Like, he's a tough competitor. I played against him a couple of times, and he's tough.
What do you like when that happens? Do other guys say stuff to you like, dude? On the other team, what are they saying to you then?
Oh no! I mean, one of the guys was like, "Oh, that baby hit" or something like that. Other guys are just talking smack or whatever. Yeah, they didn't really say much. Well, the worst thing is bad timing on my part. I knew one of the guys over on the other sideline, so injury timeout. A lot of times, guys will go talk to each other and stuff like that. So I went over to talk to my one friend. They weren't having it.
No. Take off.
They weren't having it at the time. They're like, "Dude, we're on the sideline right now." I was like, "Oh, okay." So then my head coach had to run out on the field. I'm like, I was not even trying to start a fight. I was like, "What's up, Mel?"
They thought you were actually gonna. Oh, I see.
I was just going over there like, "Hey, what's up, Mel?" And they're like, "No, what are you doing? Like, go to your sideline."
Yeah.
But is there guys in the NFL that you see on your team that are have none of that? Like, they don't care one way or another. They come. You remember Lyle Alzado? We all remember Lyle Alzado.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He demolished you, and he didn't even he didn't care if you were convulsing on the ground. He would just walk back to that was the game. You know what I mean?
Part of the game for him. Yeah.
So is there guys left like that in the NFL?
I think there might be a few out there. But at some point, it depends. When you hit somebody and maybe rolling around a little bit and he pops up, that's different. Or some guys make noises when you hit them or whatever. But, when a guy's really down and the trainer's coming out, that's the last thing any of us ever want to see.
Yeah.
There's a humanity part of it too, know. Yeah.
It is a different sport that way. I mean, we obviously living in Canada watch a lot of hockey, and you're trained from 3 years old to hate the other team, actually hate them.
And that's in Canada.
Right. That's in Canada. We're polite.
Yeah, the friendliest people ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But not for sport.
But not for hockey. Hockey is you're actually trained to hate the other team. Legit. There's no huddle in the middle of the field or on the ice at the end of the game. There's no talking to your friend during it. People get mad when you have long-term friends and they go out for dinner before the game. People get upset about that. And sometimes even after. And so, but it doesn't seem like NFL's really like that. Why is that?
As far as just hating each other?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not taught that as
you have your division games where you're like, all right, this is different,
right.
Yeah.
So division games are always different. But I guess it's just I don't know. So many guys just know each other.
From college and going through all the different events and things like that.
Right. So
crossing over,
Yeah, I'm not sure why we don't teach that. Maybe I really don't know.
Well, I like it a lot better than the NFL because I like watching at the end and everyone's kneeling around center field and praying together. And
only sport that does that.
Yeah,
only sport,
every
no
game.
sport in the world does that.
Yeah, they're Euro football. Sometimes they get together a little bit, but really NFL is the one where you think everyone goes in the middle and in the end and hugs and whatever. But actually basketball does a little bit too, I guess. Maybe it's just hockey that's weird, but I don't know.
Yeah. Hockey's pretty physical. I mean, they're punching each other in the face when they can, and they're hitting each other. I mean, that's pretty physical. But I mean, you get 4 quarters to smack somebody in the face.
Yeah.
And if you don't get your licks in by then, what's the point? There's some hate during the game, but after the game, it's always like, hey, dude, like it's all love, like it's part of the game. I don't really mean it. Like, yeah, I know, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of shake hands and move on.
I guess too, a part of it is that in hockey they do face each other up to 6 times a year, which.
Yeah.
And if you have to play in the playoffs, those are best of 7
Yeah.
series, and so you're not really going to be friends with anyone for that time period.
Exactly. Right.
It's almost a separate sport. No, but it's almost a separate sport in the playoffs in NHL. You watch a regular game in the NHL, it's okay, but come playoff hockey, it's arguably the best time to watch hockey ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, these guys take it very serious. Come
the
playoff
intensity
time.
is way different.
Like, it's raised up a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
And the refs put away the whistles, which they should have done at the Super Bowl. Well, they did for most of the game. They did for 58 minutes, but whatever.
Yeah. Crunch time.
Thoughts on Derek Carr going to the Saints?
Dude, I like it. I like it.
For who?
I was talking to him. I like it for both of them.
Yeah.
I like it for both of them. I think ever since Drew left, I mean, they've had good quarterbacks in there, but I feel like they've just been trying guys out there. So obviously giving him this type of contract, there's like, hey, we're committed to you. They have a team. They have talent there. You know what I mean? So they just need consistency at quarterback and just somebody that's not going to be 1 year and out. So I'm happy for him. Derek is one of the greatest human beings there is. So I'm super happy for him. I reached out to him, right when I saw it, and he's pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it is the business side of sports. Like, there's always that thing that happens, and I think for the Raiders too. Like, obviously Mark's a huge Raiders fan, which how he knows about you so well. But I think for the Raiders too, it's time to try something else.
Jesse, why do I get the feeling today you're like kind of pushing me to say something?
I'm trying to get Mark to go off.
I know you. Listen. There's no secret between me and Derek Carr. There's no secret. Like, I always told him that I love him as a Christian. I love him as a person. I love him as everything. And at one point in his life, I said something to him with no derogatory, but I was trying to play the devil's advocate with him because I knew he has all the talent in the world, but sometimes it didn't translate on the field. And then his brother, David Carr, got mad. And I was like, okay, I'm out, man. I'm out. I don't want.
Long story short, he's blocked on Twitter from Carr.
And I started laughing. I'm like, wait a second here, man. I'm trying to like. I never get. Someone asked me a question on Twitter. I never say, as you can check my Twitter, I never say anything controversial. I don't talk about politics. I might toss in a little bit of spirituality once in a while.
Well,
I never
sports though, but sports is always controversial.
But I never use profanity. And you know what the crazy part is? I make one comment. I always show love, and then all of a sudden I just tell him one little thing, and then his brother gets on there, and they see I'm an MMA guy, so now they're like. His brother David's like, oh, MMA pioneer. Oh, okay. And okay, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm not going to fight with you guys on Twitter, man. I'm not. Like, it's too easy. I'm easy to fight with because I love to fight, but it's not like normal people, because normal people get all upset and stuff. I'm different. Like, as you know, Jesse, I just stopped sparring with professional boxers at the age of 50. I'm 55 years old now, but at 50, I stopped sparring professional boxers. So the funny,
a little crazy.
So no, I'm not saying crazy. I'm just saying is that I don't look athletic doing anything but fighting. So, so it's like if we were playing football, you go, what's wrong with Mark? Why doesn't he look athletic? And then all of a sudden a fight breaks out, and I comically look like I know what I'm doing. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like,
I'm scared of guys like you.
Hey. No, hey, actually, the reality is today, you'd be scared of a guy that's $120.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Because if that guy's a brown belt in BJJ, like he's gonna put you in a chokehold pretty darn quick.
The guy that with the glasses on that weighs 150 pounds. The second he goes like ducks down like this, you're like,
yeah,
we got a problem, right? Because kid's a brown belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and now you got a problem. Like, this is the world we live in now. Like, I could take you to a gym in our hometown right here, where Ryan McGilvery, who used to be in the UFC, He's got a gym in the city of Edmonton. Literally, you could walk in his gym at any time. There's 50 guys with black belts in his school, and they look like guys that
trained
like,
assassins,
gas.
essentially.
Oh my goodness!
And it's just like if you mess with this kid, he's going to take his belt and choke you unconscious with it. You know?
Oh yeah,
that's how it is.
Well, it's like the Jackie Chan effect I always say in movies. Guys that say they don't want any trouble, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
If he said he doesn't want to fight, stay away from him.
Also, if the guy has like a little bit of cauliflower on his ear,
correct. Yeah, don't mess with it.
Don't mess with
just
that
go,
guy.
go,
That's just
go,
like that's
go,
universal. But okay, so I'm a big Hawks fan, and so Gino comes back. Do you know Gino?
I do not know Gino.
Oh, okay.
But I'm super happy for him.
Yeah,
me
too.
That's quite the story.
Super happy.
I'll be honest. The Seahawks are one of those teams that make me very upset because back in the day when we had Matt Flynn over from Green Bay, we thought, okay, finally we got a quarterback. No more Matt Hasselbeck. And then this guy named Russell Wilson comes along, and I'm like, if this Russell Wilson guy, if Pete puts this guy in, I'm out. Well, that worked out okay for the most part. And then Gino, same thing, comes in, and you're like, okay. So I guess the other thing is to me, the NFL does something right where they tell the story of people, and then it's about the stories of guys like yourself and Gino, and it's there's something about it that is, yes, the play obviously has to matter, and if Gino sucked the whole time, it would have obviously been bad, but played really well. But how do you, being a veteran in the NFL, take all that experience and all the ups and downs, like Gino would have had too, and then put the young guys on your back and take them into what is possible?
Gino was drafted to where he was drafted for a reason. There was always potential there. I think his biggest knock was got to take care of the ball. And sometimes Gino he wants to put everybody on his back, because that's just, I don't know him personally, just watching him play and just hearing other teammates of mine that have played with him or know him, the type of person he is, that he tries to make the big play. Hey, we need something. So he tried just take care of the ball. And I think that's what he showed this year. When he takes care of the ball, he has arm talent. He has legs to extend plays. So again, I'm super happy for him. Being a veteran guy, I feel like he just went in there and was like, hey, I have nothing to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been replaced, bench, whatever, my whole career. I really have nothing to lose, and he played like that this year. So yeah, I'm happy for him.
Who are your like, say, top 6 guys without like, putting anybody down? Your top 6 guys you ever played with, whether it be the CFL or NFL, but those 6 guys that you remember, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like those times when you're sitting in your new pad on the water and you're sitting there and you're just kind of thinking, you're saying to yourself, I miss those 6 guys. Now it could be about football. It could be about just the way they made you feel, but those 4, 5, 6 guys in your entire career, who would they be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or coaches too, right? It could be coaches too,
right? Coaches as well. I'll stick with the players. I had some great coaches, and I still talk to a lot of my coaches. Coach Orlando, I still talk to him. But I would say Dallin Levitt is one of my really good friends. Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
So him and I and Kyle Wilbur, we used to hang out a lot together in Oakland. Those are definitely the two I have. Oh man, you put me on the spot. You know who I got really close to pretty fast? Dean Marlowe.
Wow.
Yeah, Dean Marlowe. Yeah. We weren't together super long, but it's just kind of one of those things where just our personalities connected and stuff like that. So Dean Marlowe, we got together. We connected pretty well. Trying to think who else. I mean, there's so many good teammates that I've played with,
What do you do in like
that embedded though in your mind? You know what I'm saying? Like those guys that you just can't, like, hey, you want to give them a call,
right?
Like
right. I mean, when I was in Canada, Simone Lawrence, I stayed in contact with him, even when I was at Oakland, when he was living out there at the moment. Simone Lawrence, Tank Reed, Taylor Reed. If you guys remember Taylor Reed, I was really close with him. Obviously, Delvin Breaux, a good friend of mine still. And then, when I was at the Saints, I mean, that was a good time with the Saints. Chris Banjo, Craig Robinson, Mark Ingram, great dudes.
Former Seahawk?
With the Raiders. Huh?
Mark Ingram?
Oh, yeah.
Former Seahawk, right?
Yeah, he was former Seahawk.
No.
Oh, he wasn't?
Mark Ingram?
No, I thought Mark Ingram was.
No, he Saints and Ravens, and then he went back to the Saints.
Oh, right.
And then
Sorry,
Texans for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So how do teams do it different? Like, how different are the team dynamics, like team to team? Like, do they have events where you all come out, or is that really ever even encouraged anymore?
Yeah, some teams will do that. When I was with the Saints, we did like everybody does team bonding things during OTAs. Some guys are different as far, or organizations are different. They'll have like stuff in the locker rooms for guys that kind of hang out, and guys are super competitive. You think they're competitive on the football field, like they're playing pig in the locker room or playing ping pong, and it's like, dude, like, you guys are talking to each other so crazy right now. It's so competitive. But yeah, I mean, veteran guys usually put things together and kind of pay for it or whatever, or put a foundation event together. So usually the older guys put stuff together for the whole team to kind of get together.
I see. There's not the rookie dinner where they have to pick up the whole tab at the end.
Yeah, man. Some people go overboard with that. It's not about that. I never thought it was about the spending the money. It's about
I agree.
It's not about that. It's about getting together and just fellowshipping with one another.
Yeah.
Who cares how much your steak costs and how much the bill's gonna be at the end?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's always fun and everybody's like, oh, I did it, but everybody's situation is differently.
Yep.
We're all fighting for guaranteed money, right? Why are we fighting for guaranteed money and we're going to go out and spend it on a fancy dinner just because it's the thing to do?
Yeah. Right.
I see the Lions did it the other day. I watched them on. I was watching it the other day. They had to sing in front of the whole team. And, and then the team was singing along with the guy to help him out a little bit, but it was so funny. And I mean, that would be a tough one. I mean, if you ain't a singer, and then you get up there and do it, but some of the guys killed it.
Yeah, you listen. I tell the young guys all the time, like, it's coming up, and you're gonna be nervous regardless. But you have to have a song in mind. Just say, hey, what song do I randomly sing, whether you're a good singer or not? And you got to go up there and just start singing it. And if you start off good and just stay strong, and it's a song that everybody knows, everybody will sing with you.
That's right.
But these guys get up there, I'm like, so sign-in bonus. What do you guys want me to sing? We're like, boo. Right away, like,
get heckled.
What do we want you to sing?
I think one thing that people, really don't understand maybe with the NFL, because we see Sundays, Mondays, is the rest of the week with the team. What day off do they usually give you, and how many times do you have to go into the facility or whatever for meetings and practices and watching video and all that?
It's funny you ask, because I was just talking to some guys that I train with over here at Exos, young guys. I'm like, we were running drills, whatever, getting a little tired, and I'm like, this they don't see this part of it. They don't see this part of it. They just they want to look up your contract on Google, and they want to see how much money you make. They don't, they see that final number. They don't realize that. I mean, it's still a lot of money at the end of the day, but they take away half of it. Especially depending on what state you're in.
Yeah,
that's right.
But they just don't see the aches and pains. You got guys, and people are obviously pushing for cannabis and stuff like that, because guys get addicted to painkillers because they're either shooting you up, giving you painkillers so you can play through things, and they don't see, like you said, usually Tuesday. So Sunday we play. Usually we'll just stick to a Sunday game.
Yeah.
Sunday you play. You still go in Monday. Sometimes if you win,
do go on Monday.
If you win, the coach will give you victory Monday, so you have Monday and Tuesday off. But you still have to come in and get a lift or treatment if you're hurt or whatever.
I see.
You just get to do it on your time through a time window. That's how most coaches are. If you lose, you're going in, and it's brutal. You're watching the film. So you go in, you treatment, you lift, you run, depending on the percentage of snaps or who your strength coach is. You might run a X amount just to get your legs moving again. So you are lifting and moving the next day. And then you go watch film, team meeting, special teams, offense, defense, and then position. So then you do that. So that's Monday. Tuesday's off.
Wow.
Kind of do what you want on Tuesday. Some guys don't come in the facility at all. Typically, if my family's not there, I'll go in and lift or whatever just to get it out of the way. So my Wednesday, I don't have to worry about. Usually, have to get 2 lifts in during the season, mandatory lifts, a week.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you go in Wednesday, and your coaches are there, and again, every coach is different, but in team meeting, they might ask you, hey, what do the Panthers like to do on first and second down? Like, oh, well, or who's so and so, who's the receiver, what tight ends are you going against?
Really
interesting.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We'll put you on the spot in front of people, so you're like, their tight ends. Yeah, you don't know. Hey, and he'll ask it might ask a veteran guy. It's like, yeah, that's what a pro's about. You know what I mean? Like being on type of your game. So everybody, like that team meeting on Wednesdays and Thursdays, everybody's like, oh gosh, they have all their notes out and they have papers all in front of them. Just you never know what questions can be asked.
Erik, do they ever ask you, say, for example, when you played for Las Vegas, right? This is a tough one. If when you played for Las Vegas, coach ever say to you, hey, when you guys are playing Vegas, will he specifically ask you or someone else that played for Las Vegas in the past ask about what they do?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they
will. Yeah.
They would be silly not to, but yeah, they'll be like, hey, what does this mean, or why do they play it like this and stuff like that. So I mean, that's all around the league. That
of course.
Is that like they change that system and the words and the calls every year?
No, I mean everybody's defense is their defense. I mean, now every coach is not the same. Terminology.
Right.
Now that Falcons got a new defensive coordinator, maybe some things stay the same as far as how they're played, but maybe it's just different terminology.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like some people might say rip Liz, meaning right or left, in cover 3, or they might say Rob Lee, if it's fire zone, like different stuff like that. So it's just terminology changes.
And then how much
you get
how much of that do you have to memorize?
I mean, you got to know it all. So OTAs usually go in and, it's different phases, but you go in and you start doing a playbook or whatever. So, I mean, you hear from OTAs and then you go to training camp, you hear the same thing. So OTAs, like let's just say day 1 install, you might put in cover 3, cover 4, and cover 1, and maybe 2 blitzes, right? So you know that day 1, boom, you put it in, you go over it in your defensive meeting, go over a position group, get in a little more detail about your actual job, alignment, assignment. If so-and-so does this, you do that. So you do that. And then you go do walkthrough. So you do walkthrough. And then you practice, right? So then that's day 1. So day 2 comes and you have maybe five or 6 more plays that you put in. Well, you're like, all right, I got this down. So you go to walkthrough. But then you get out to practice and they're calling all the plays you just put in there fresh in your mind. And they call something from day 1. You're like, oh, shoot.
Right.
That was like 11 plays ago. I can't remember, so if you don't know the playbook and, your veteran guys aren't helping out the young guys to keep up with the playbook, it can get a lot for a lot of people. And that's why I always say, like, the average career, 3 years, if that now, and it's not always people's ability to play football. It's the ability to be a professional.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Their ability to be a professional.
Yeah.
So college kids coming out, right?
Yeah.
There's potential everywhere. Everybody has potential right now.
Right.
So you draft them or you sign them, undrafted free agent, whatever it may be. You bring them into your building. You replace the older guy with one of them, usually, right? And then they have 2 years off of potential. And if you're not producing, we always say P equals T, performance equals tolerance. If you're not producing, well, that next round of college players that have potential, you're going to get replaced with.
Wow.
So if you can't be a professional, you can't stay on top of your game, and you can't pick up on playbooks, or you're messing up on the same thing, or whatever it may be, you get replaced. And it's not because you have the inability to, be athletic on a football field. You have the inability to be professional and be disciplined off the field and within the details.
Yeah. How much percentage would you say athleticism to intellect, for lack of a better word, that kind of stuff?
Some guys get away with it. Some guys are just crazy fast and crazy athletic and just
this is my job.
This is my job, and I'm gonna lock down.
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't always the most athletic, but I was always one of the smarter ones. So you might be 4'3", 4'4", but I might be 4'5", 4'6", but I'm gonna be in the right spot before you because I can anticipate. I know what's going on. Film study, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. You might take 2 steps in the wrong direction. Why I didn't take any false steps because I was slow to read. I can process a little faster than you, and then I can react.
How many more years? E? How many more?
One year at a time, man.
That's it. That's all you're gonna say. One at a time.
One at a time from here on out. Just one at a time. I don't really want to put a stamp on it, because for me that's like saying, hey God, that's all I want. You know what I mean? If he wants me to continue to play, if he needs me in a certain locker room to be a leader and impact certain people, that was kind of my role this year with the Falcons. I kind of told them that. As far as the young guys, I really love the young guys there. Richie, Hawk, the guys that were there that from 2021. They thank me all the time for helping me out. I was like a coach to them. They would come to me, all the time and ask me questions, or how do you see this? But I also thank those guys, because there's been times where you have young guys and they're drafted higher than you, or whatever it may be, or they're just better than you. They don't perceive it the same way. They don't allow you to teach them. They know it all already. So I'm like, dude, no, thank you for allowing me to be who I am, and just naturally want to serve people, because that's what Christ calls us to do.
Yeah, that's great.
So could you see that down the, like, I'm not saying in your 30s. I'm saying 39, 40 years old. Could you see yourself? Okay, I brought up earlier about Christian Singer, and you kind of waved me off. Okay, no problem. But this was my part B to that one. Could you see yourself as a coach down the road? Because if you have that look of the field, I watch you in football when you played for the Raiders, and when you play, you have the look like you have. How do I explain it? Like, you can scope the field, you can see things. Like you said earlier, the guy might be a little bit quicker than you, but you might have the step or two prior to him. That's not just a player talking anymore. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that's someone that sees the game differently. Like, there's other people. How can I explain it? I would be with Jason when I trained and managed Jason McDonald. He can fight someone, no problem, but he could never explain when we do a seminar together in front of 500 people. He would say, Mark, you tell them how to do it, and I was like, okay, like he couldn't coach someone, but he could just go do it, but he couldn't translate it to the masses. Do you see yourself down the road in any way being able to coach, say at a junior college level to start, then get to a division, NCAA Division I, and then we see E in his 50s, going, hey, I'm on the sideline here.
Hopefully not in the 50s. The new trend is to get a hot young coach, right?
40 in the Super Bowl.
I'm trying to be that guy that has guys on the roster that are older than him, right?
That's true. That's true. McVay's that.
He has it. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the trend. But no, I always say this, and my coaches are like, look, I love having you out there, because it's like having another coach out there, So I've gotten that, and all my coaches, hey, so when you coach one day, and you want to talk to guys like that, or they'll say, hey, remember this when you coach one day, because you're going to be a great coach. So I do take that as a huge compliment, sorry. But yeah, I would like to coach one day, but obviously, like I said, I'm going to take it one day at a time, or 1 year at a time, as far as how much I want to play. And then obviously that's going to be a huge question as far as family, because coaches have a lot more commitment than players.
Yeah.
We go out there and bang our bodies up, but like I said, you come in, like I said, we come in Monday, the coaches already watch film. They already know what the corrections are. So they're already in the building. And then Tuesday, they come in when we're off, because they're breaking down Wednesday. So you come in Wednesday, hey, when the running back's at home, 90% run. When the running backs, gun far, whatever percentage pass or run. So they're giving us all these tips and information, and they're doing installs, and they're 5:30 to 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock, depending on the coaching staff. That's so much time to be committed.
Yeah.
And I have young kids, and I just, not having a dad around, I'm like, I would never want to miss those moments.
Yeah.
And sometimes the way my journey has gone is kind of, I have an opportunity to kind of entertain it if I want to. If not, I'm good. And I'm very blessed to be like, dang, I don't have to coach if I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where, dang, I have no choice. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go coach.
Right. Yeah.
How's the fishing in your new place?
Fishing.
Oh, the redfish are running right now, but we haven't got out there yet. Yeah, the redfish are running right now. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I see it, and I'm like, I know Jesse's a huge fisherman. He's a fly fisherman. And when I see your place, I'm like, you could literally cast right off the back porch. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. When do you take the time to decide what you do the next season?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I ever really thought about it. It's kind of just been
you just kind of like
you start training.
Yeah.
You start training because I know I'm going to play again. When that time comes, we're like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to play next year, but I might want to play next year. I think those conversations will be a little bit different as far as like, hey, let's get revving up, and maybe even the time where I'm like, all right, I'm done. Right. It's like, all right, the time's here. My body, I'm supposed to be doing something right now. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be in cleats or whatever it may be. I think that'll be a pretty weird. But that's why it's important. It's important for guys to have a plan to transition, and I think that's why a lot of guys. First of all, I'm a football player, and that's what I do. You know, depending on how good I'm playing, I go check my social media to get all the love and praise. And then if I'm doing bad, I'm reading and I'm depressed and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're a human being. You know, my identity is in Christ, and that's who I am. I have a family. Not everybody has a family, but have loved ones that support you, and just know what you do and who you are is the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's sage advice for just humans in general, not just athletes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm glad he says it though. I'm glad you say it, E, because there's so many people in this world that are so, it's weird. It's like, you're slow rolling Christ, and that's the way I think it's the best way to get to Christ, because when I used to say this to people all the time, if you're just going to throw Bible verses at people, it freaks them out right off the get-go, and it's not the way. It's not the way. It's you'll get the Bible verses when you get to church, and you'll experience that. But I love your way that you do it. I think it's fantastic. I encourage everybody to follow your Instagram and your Twitter, and we'll make sure they do so. But your message on Instagram is fantastic, and it's family orientated. Your house that you're putting together is well deserved. That's what you deserve. Like, in my opinion, you deserve that. Like, and it's just fun to watch. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't. There's no other human being I watch. Like, what's different? You watch some celebrities, they just want to show you dollar bills on the table all the time. Like the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, and all these guys, and they want to be shopping all the time, and they want to show you stacks of money. And I think that's not the way to do it. And I'm saying that to Floyd, I'm saying that to everybody. I don't think that's the way to do it. And when people, I implore them to kind of follow your journey, because I think your journey is going to go on for a long time. And that, when you see what you're doing and you're being rewarded for it, and that's the right way, in my opinion.
Nah, I appreciate it. I mean, a lot of that stuff, and everybody lives differently, and no knock to anybody, but a lot of that stuff that they're flaunting is things that go away, or it's a lot of emptiness in it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, you got stacks of money and you got it from boxing. Well, I got stacks of money, and how did I get it? Maybe, the streets or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got stacks of money. What I have is internal. You can't take that away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? No matter how broke I am, what job I have, it's all internal. You can't take it away from me.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what you build your life on.
No, I love that.
What believer or not, I always say, like, don't get too in depth in the Bible when you're a new believer. Love and serve, and that's what Christ is. Correct. Love and serve other people, and you'll be just fine, right? Now, there's obviously other ways you live as a Christian, but start with that. Just love people and serve people. If you can serve people and put people before yourself, you'll be ahead of a lot of people out there.
Ain't that the truth?
Because what is sin? Sin is selfish.
Yeah.
It's all about yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can put other people before you and serve other people, well, you're already ahead.
Man, if everybody just did a little bit of that every day, it'd be a different place we lived.
Yep.
Well, Erik, again, I mean, the time flies so fast when you're talking with us, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your evening with your family and stuff as well. But Mark and I really appreciate you. I know everyone that watches you and follows you appreciates you too. And just with what you do in the field, but more so what you have in your heart. and how you share that is to me the most influential thing. And that's what I think it has the longevity, that your career is much more than football, and everyone that watches you knows that that's the case. It's just given you an awesome platform to do it. It's really cool to watch, and so we appreciate it. I want your brand to hit big, and how's that going?
Appreciate it. It's going well. It's going well. One of those things where I kind of started it, and I'll be honest, I haven't been like full into it. I need to do a better job. Maybe I need to hire you guys, because you guys do a really good job of promoting. But it's definitely, I'm actually about to run my first football camp, and
oh wow,
it hasn't even been announced yet. We're still working
on
the flyers and stuff like that, but it's going to be on April 16th. We're going to have a flag football camp. So
where are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it?
Where I'm going to do it? Down here at in the Gulf Breeze, Florida.
Okay,
cool.
Good.
Yep,
awesome.
Down in Florida. So, it's kind of one of those things. You're kind of at the end of your career. It's not always your say at this point. You keep want to play, but you might not play, depending on what they want to say. But so I'm like, okay, you're at the end of your career. Let me get my name involved in my community, because
I totally
honestly,
agree.
when I prayed
Totally
about this platform that we just talked about, Jesse, that my prayer was, give me a platform that I can change my community.
Yeah.
And at the time I was thinking my hometown, and I still want to make a difference there, but my community right now is here in Florida. So it's just, your community is wherever you really are, right? It's where, same thing as church, right? It's a group of people. So I really want to make a difference. I don't even know if a lot of people even know I live around this area, but I just want, these kids need love so badly. They need love. They need to be built up. They need to be coached the right way, and just see the positivity and just be encouraged,
Absolutely.
Tell me when the poster's up. We'll put it on all our stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll directly put it to the area you're in, so people know about it. And
okay.
Because lots of people think you just build it and they come. That's not necessarily the truth anymore.
Right.
Okay.
No,
that was a movie. That was a movie. Yeah. So this is, you got to let them know. Right. And that's a great thing that you're doing for the community, but at the same time is the kids will just love that. I mean, how can't they?
Yeah. It'll be great. It'll be awesome.
And I have to catch some redfish on the fly. It's one of the ones on the checklist.
Come on, man. Dude, redfish are fun to catch.
Oh, dude, they look great.
This cat over here with the beard, don't be mistaken. You got to see him fish, man. This guy, I don't know why, Jesse, I tell him all the time, we got our podcast and we're killing it right now. But I said, Jesse, you got to start a fishing podcast. Like he is so good, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, you know how it is. You turn the things that you like into a business, and then you end up hating it. So I did that with too many things already.
Yeah.
Want fishing just to be fishing.
Yeah. Be mindless. Just
mindless.
Yeah. Just catch some fish. Well, Erik, again, we thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And good luck this season. Hopefully you'll end up in Seattle. And if you end up in Seattle, I'm buying your jersey instantly. So
that's far.
I know it's far.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's wet.
too far.
Far.
But it's great.
It
was beautiful. It was beautiful out there. We stayed out there for a week. There for a week this past year, because we played the Rams, and then we stayed out there for a week, and it was beautiful.
Oh yeah, I grew up out there, so that's
but
Vegas, kind of the thing.
Vegas could get Rodgers, and we get E back in the mix again over there in Las Vegas. Oh my God! Now you're talking. Now you're talking.
There you go.
Now you're talking. Don't get me excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, man.
Yeah,
all right, brother.
Bye.
All right. See you guys later.
All right, Erik Harris, everybody on the Mean Jesse
Listen,
podcast.
man, when we talk about the NFL, right? And you talk about players all the time, and people always want to talk about the bad part, players doing this, players doing that. Then you have guys like Erik Harris, right? That are NFL guys that do it the right way. And he's been doing it the right way. And he's just an all-around great human being from top to bottom. Listen, you can count on one hand how many times we've had a guest on twice on the show.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that are on the palm of the hand, just because the aura that he brings to the show and how he acts and everything about him. And he's just a great human being all the way around. And we wish him all the success in the world. And listen, we all agree. We all want him to play on our team. You know why? Because he does bring
We know what he's like. You can imagine what he's like on the. I mean, he said it. Like all the coaches and everyone's like, "Hey, man, like you're like having another coach out there." I mean, that is like you want that. You need that on your team. You need guys like that. And we know he's not the only one, but we know that he's one, and definitely one that's. Oh man,
you need that in NFL.
You need it in every sport.
Every sport,
every team, every business that has multiple people. Like you need those guys that buy in more than just what the team's doing, but in life. Because anything that you and I have discovered on this show from doing this show is that that time on the playing surface is a very small part of their life in terms of the big picture. They have all these other contributing factors that feed into that time that the cameras are on and the lights are on, and it matters, no question, but it's all those other outside circumstances feeding into that really sets the great people apart. And I think Erik's one of those guys. And
if you're in the Florida area, April 16th, don't forget he's doing his first camp.
Yeah,
you got to support it. It's going to be fantastic. And like I said, I knew Erik all the time had that look of a coach. Eventually, just because he sees the field a certain way. But like he said, a lot of kids, family man. He's right. Look at Belichick. How long he's been a coach for? Won how many Super Bowls and still looks miserable. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like it's a tough gig, man. It's a very tough gig.
It would be.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, what do you say? Like he's a great guy. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, get that hairy back. Get rid of it. Spring is coming, everyone.
Oof.
Time for the tarps off and head to the beach. And you don't want that woolly mammoth sweater that you've been sporting all winter under there to be there. So you get yourself a back skate. You take off that back hair, and you enjoy yourself. Hey. You expect your significant other, if she's a girl, to shave her legs. Well, she probably would appreciate you shaving your back too.
Yeah. And don't forget about Crystal Glass, everybody. Your clear choice for all your glass needs. Call 310 Glass or go to crystalglass.ca.
Well, we a lot of things going on. That shellacking of Man U yesterday, 7-0 against Liverpool. Man,
and don't forget, John Jones now back UFC heavyweight champion of the world.
Champ.
He beat our guy Cyril Gane, but you know what? He did it easy. I mean, it was too easy for John Jones.
It was too
easy. Once again, you could question his character, but you can't question his ability to play. To fight in MMA. Yeah. He is the GOAT in MMA. Yeah. He is the Tom Brady. He is the Michael Jordan.
He's the Gretzky.
He's Gretz. Yes, Jesse. Good analogy.
He's untouchable at this point.
He's untouchable. And Cyril Gane literally went 5 rounds with Francis Ngannou. He beat everybody else. And John Jones
to see Ngannou and him go, that would be amazing.
But John Jones Cyril looked like he never fought before a day in his life against John Jones. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because Cyril Gane is so good that he made him look like so bad. And that's what greats do. Greats do that. Now they're saying that Stipe Miocic is going to fight him in the summertime, which I think it's a horrendous fight for Stipe. Stipe should retire.
But who are you going to fight against Jones now?
Well, they say Stipe Miocic is going to fight him. But Stipe, no, I agree.
Cyril was the best one in that group now.
He sure was. Was.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I think he should probably try to go back to light, or maybe carry both belts. Probably more exciting.
I think he's too big now to go back. You're talking now he's at 250. It's like
catch weight.
You start doing these super fight catch weights, maybe. I don't know, but
who do you fight in there? Like again, it's one of those things. It's a little sad in a way because with Gretzky, you had a lot of other greats playing on the ice at the same time. It was great. The Lemieux and Gretzky faced off. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm tuning into this.
Yeah.
And now you're like, okay, well, who's Jones gonna fight? Like, can they clone him?
I guess that's the only option. It's the only option.
Well, everybody, that's Mark Pavlich. I'm Jesse Martineau. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Tell
subscribe.
A friend. Hit that share button. Hit that subscribe button. And thanks, as always, to our guest, Erik Harris. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, E.
All right. Have a good one. Have a good one, everybody. See you next time on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse.